Hello and welcome to Volusia Magazine. I'm Amber Osman. In this week's episode, more debris pickups are announced, the Ocean Center is preparing to light up Volusia, and the airport announces its latest passenger numbers. Later on in the program, Joanne Magley examines the economic outlook with Pedro Leon of the county's Economic Development Division. Those segments and more coming right up on Volusia Magazine. I hope you stay tuned. As we start to enter the holiday season, one thing we're all grateful for is the end of hurricane season, which is November 30th. Debris cleanup continues across Volusia County with nearly 450,000 cubic yards of storm debris collected to date. Officials say this is 80% of the estimated 550,000 cubic yards on county-maintained roads they will collect. They expect to collect an additional 75,000 cubic yards from private roads. That collection began last week.
The county's going to do one sweep or pass of the private roads for vegetative debris only. We ask that you separate your debris, construction and demolition, and any kind of other hazardous waste are the responsibility of the homeowner. The county will pick up all vegetative debris.
Construction and demolition debris began last week. Residents should separate construction and demolition debris from any remaining vegetative debris. There will only be one collection pass for construction and demolition debris. Volusia County will also make a second and final pass for storm-related vegetative debris on county-maintained roads beginning this week. Volusia County residents should have all vegetative storm-related debris on the public right-of-way to ensure it is collected.
The debris contractors will leave a pile that's intermixed with construction debris or any kind of hazardous waste. If there's a fence on top, we ask them just to take it off, but if it's a large pile and it's intermixed entirely, the pile will be left for the homeowner to remove.
The deadline for residents who had damage from Hurricane Irma to register for FEMA assistance has been extended to November 24th. Only one registration per household is necessary. Residents can either apply online at disasterassistance.gov or they can call FEMA's toll-free number at 800-621-FEMA, which is 3362. For more information on Hurricane Irma recovery, you can visit volusia.org/PIN. Hurricane Irma made an impact on passenger traffic at Daytona Beach International Airport for the month of September. Passenger traffic at Volusia County government's operated airport decreased 12% for September in comparison with the same month last year. During the month, more than 47,000 passengers flew in or out of the county-operated airport, compared to more than 53,000 passengers last September. For the 12 months ending September 30th, total passenger traffic increased 3.1% with nearly 690,000 passengers traveling through the facility last year, compared to more than 711,000 passengers this year. In September, 67 flights canceled due to Hurricane Irma. The storm not only negatively impacted passenger numbers in Daytona Beach, but across the state of Florida. However, with nearly 100 flights canceled this year because of weather events, Daytona Beach International Airport still ended the fiscal year with a 3% increase. And airport officials anticipate the next 6 months to trend upward.
The fact that we're making positive gains over last year with JetBlue service, that bodes well for new additional JetBlue service as the year continues on and into next year in 2019 as well.
For more information, log on to flydaytonafirst.com.
They said I couldn't dream. Called me a piece of trash and swore that's all I'd ever be. Said a bottle couldn't see the ocean. Give up. go back to the dumpster. But I didn't listen. I made my way. And now, I am what I've always wanted to be.
The holiday season is upon us, and that means lots of cooking. In this week's Community Health Matters, Dr. Holly Smith has ways to avoid dangers in the kitchen and to safely store all those delicious leftovers.
Thanksgiving is coming up fast with other poultry-laden holidays to follow. To make sure your holiday meal is safe to eat and to serve, we stopped by Cafe 101 at Daytona State College. That's where Chef Mark McCann walked us through some very basic tips you can use at home.
Okay, Chef Mark, we're going to talk about preparing the holiday meal. And how is that different from when you prepare a meal, every day at home?
No difference whatsoever. In professional food service establishments, they're following the same things, the same sanitation that we should be following at home.
Okay, so first thing.
Wash your hands.
Wash your hands. So let's start with the cleanliness part. And then you've got a lot of cleaning supplies. Is this for utensils or countertops or?
This would be a combination of things, for both, absolutely. So in the food service business, our red buckets are sanitizing buckets, our green buckets are cleaning buckets. So we have a detergent, a rinse, and a sanitize. At home, we can use things like ammonia, bleach, half a cup to a gallon of water will form a sanitizer that we can use at home. At home, we can also use those ready-to-use sanitizing wipes that come out of the dispenser, all ready to use.
So that's the last thing. First, you clean it with whatever way you would normally clean it, and then follow behind with your sanitizer.
Yes.
I like the wipes.
So yeah, the clean, the detergent part would be first, followed by the rinse and the sanitizer.
Okay, so why sanitize? I hear a lot about raw meat. Usually holiday meals focus around turkey, so what's the...
We have to assume that with any poultry item such as turkey, it probably contains a degree of salmonella. When we're using our raw vegetables, along with our raw turkey, we have to keep them separate.
If I use the same knife to prepare the turkey, I have one knife.
Go to your detergent, rinse, sanitize.
Do the same thing to the utensils that you do to the countertops?
To the cutting board, absolutely.
When we're going to pop this in the oven after we've seasoned it the way we want, how do we know when it's done?
Well, normally the turkeys come with this handy-dandy little thermometer that's this little plastic
the plastic one?
thing.
Yeah, it makes it easy for people like me cooking at home.
Yeah, it's in the breast meat. So pull this thing out. Get rid of that.
Not useful. Okay.
We want to check the temperature, the internal temperature of the cooked turkey in the dark meat. The dark meat, the thigh meat, is the last thing to cook. So we want to check the internal temperature of the dark meat in the thigh at 165 degrees internal temperature to ensure its doneness.
So we prep the turkey. It's got to be about time. Can we check it to see if it's done?
Absolutely. Let's pull it out and check it.
All right, what are we looking for?
So we're gonna remove it from the oven. We're gonna check it in 3 spots.
Oh, it looks done to me. It's brown. Doesn't that mean it's done?
No, we need to know what the internal temperature is. We're gonna check the turkey in 3 spots. So we're gonna check the breast. So if we insert our thermometer into the breast, we should get an internal temperature of 165.
Do you have to worry about getting to the bone or anything?
We don't want to be resting on a bone because that will give us a wrong reading. And then we'll also check it in the wing, in the thigh. And this pan is hot.
So the thigh because
the dark meat does take a little bit longer to cook.
So you're doing the inside of the thigh, okay.
And again, we'll avoid any bones and look for that 165 reading. Again, because the dark meat does take a little bit longer to cook than the white meat.
There we go. We're good.
And we are all set.
Okay, cooked, 165 degrees. Cut it up, serve it.
Cut it up, serve it.
Maybe eat a little along the way.
Absolutely. At home, as far as storing the leftovers, We want to be real careful with our time and temperature abuses. So we want to chill it down as quickly as possible.
What's the limit? Because, you know, a lot of people sit around a Thanksgiving table and just keep eating.
If our food has been sitting out at room temperature for 4 hours, it's probably gone a little too long.
A favorite part of the holiday meal is the leftovers. Chef Mark's tip: use Ziploc baggies and label them with the date. According to the USDA, leftovers are still safe to eat 3 to 4 days after Thanksgiving. So if you haven't eaten them by Monday, you need to throw them out. Or you can freeze them. If you do that, they'll be good for another 2 to 6 months. Why did we just spend the last few minutes talking about basic food preparation? Well, it's because the bacteria that causes foodborne illnesses cannot be smelled or tasted, but you can keep from getting sick by taking these precautions. Here they are.
Once again, that is clean your surfaces and your utensils, keep your food separate, cook them, and then store them by chilling them in the freezer or the refrigerator. And of course, have a food-safe holiday meal. If you would like more information on holiday food safety, visit foodsafety.gov. That's foodsafety.gov with the Florida Department of Health right here in Volusia County. I'm Dr. Holly Smith.
Okay, so we drowned the fire, stirred it, drowned it again, and now just feel if it's cold.
Yeah.
Cool.
Smokey just gave me a bear hug.
I know. I already posted it.
Mosquitoes will bite day and night, so protect yourself with these tips. Keep mosquitoes outside by shutting doors and covering windows with screens. Use EPA-approved insect repellents anytime you're outdoors. Cover your skin with long sleeves and pants. Mosquitoes lay their eggs in water. Just a bottle cap of water is all they need. So drain, refresh, or cover anything around buildings that can hold water at least weekly, and put away outside items that aren't being used. A message from the Florida Department of Health.
For the 7th year in a row, locals and visitors to Volusia County are invited to celebrate the holiday season at Light Up Volusia. Make plans to take the family to this year's festive holiday event Saturday, November 25th at the Ocean Center in Daytona Beach. This free annual event starts at 5 p.m. with plenty of entertainment, including performances by local musical groups, children's activities, a community showcase with local businesses and agencies, and a gingerbread competition. The night wouldn't be complete without a visit from Mr. and Mrs. Santa Claus, and at 7:15 p.m. you can witness the beauty of the ceremonial lighting of the 50-foot holiday tree.
All kinds of fun activities for the kids, and we've got DJ inside so you can get in there and dance, and you also can videotape yourself singing through the bopping heads caricature booth. So there's a lot of things going on. Hot chocolate, holiday cookies, and Mr. and Mrs. Santa arrive at 7:15. And we're gonna have our friend Dave Lang over here, and he's going to help light up the 50-foot tree. So that will introduce us to our holiday season. So please come out, lots to do, and I'm sure that the whole family will enjoy.
The entertainment lineup includes the Bow Sisters, Crescendo Amelia, Stiltwalkers, magicians, face painters, and more. For more information, you can call 386-254-4500, or you can visit oceancenter.com/lightupvolusia. Let's join Community Information Director Joanne Magley in the studio with Volusia County Economic Development's Pedro Leon.
Thanks, Amber. Well, the economic news across the country and here in Volusia County continues to be very positive. Today, we'll take a look at the key economic influences in the local economy for the third quarter of 2017. So joining us in the studio today is Pedro Leon, Business Manager for Volusia County's Economic Development Division. Hi, Pedro.
Hi, Joanne. Great to be here.
Thanks for being here today. So every quarter, the Economic Development team, and led by Rob Earhart, you give an update on what's going on in the economic world for Volusia County, and actually on a national level. And you just did that this past Friday. So what was the general message of that presentation?
Last economic quarter, our second quarter, we had a very strong showing, so that was a positive news story. Well, the story for the third quarter of 2017 is that positive news story continues. Our official unemployment rate has gone down, the total number of unemployed persons has gone down, and our gross domestic product, or GDP, has gone up by almost $1 billion.
And you're speaking on the local level. What about on the national level? What's the general message points for national?
Well, as reported recently in the media, the national level gross domestic product is also reaching levels of 2% and 3% during the last 2 fiscal quarters. So it's showing very strong economic growth.
All right, let's go to construction. You show a number of slides that show the construction activity for each quarter. Let's begin with residential construction. What are those numbers looking like for this last quarter?
This last quarter was 559 new construction residential permits, and it is a very strong showing because we had a very strong showing in the second quarter, also over 500 permits per quarter. So we are on par with that performance, and the values are pretty close, within a couple of $1 million. They were about $167 million in the second quarter, about almost $165 million for the third quarter. So I'd say we're definitely consistent with a very strong showing.
Consistent is good when it comes to the level that we've been seeing in the past couple of quarters. So Dr. Dietz, who is the Chief Economic and Senior Vice President of Economics and Housing Policy for the National Association of Home Builders, he recently spoke at a local meeting here for the Volusia Business Industry Association. He made a couple of key points, one being employment. What did he have to say during that presentation about those key points?
He made an important part of this good news story for us. He looked at payroll employment levels, both before the recession and after the recession. And he pointed out that our metropolitan statistical area, which is us in Flagler County, is at 104% of our payroll employment from before the recession. So what that means for us is that we have not only reached the 100% recovery point, but we have sustained it and actually increased it a little bit. So a very welcome sign of economic recovery.
And what did he have to say about evidence of demographic changes as it relates to homeownership?
He pointed out that our metropolitan statistical area population is growing, and growing slightly faster than the country as a whole. And in particular, the millennial generational group, one of the largest in history, is one that is not only present in significant percentages in our community. Millennials and post-millennials are about 37%. But they are reaching the age group, 25 to 35 now, and they are beginning to form households. And that means that they're going to need housing for themselves and their families. And we are beginning to see that increase in housing demand showing up. So you have this group in multiple millions across the country reaching the age group where they need housing. And that's going to continue now for the next several years. In our case, because they are over a third of our population, both millennial and post-millennials from, say, 1980 and later, they will also reflect, we anticipate, continued housing demand locally.
And so we also anticipate housing demand in the higher age bracket, correct, for a senior population, or?
That's correct. There are generally two major peaks in household formation that lead to household demand. The first was the 25 to 35 peak that Dr. Dietz has pointed out. He also showed on his chart that roughly in the 50s, mid-50s range and older, there is also a demand for housing at around that age grouping. And we have a significant baby boomer generation cohort in our community as well, and they definitely will be looking for housing.
I have to strike my word where I said seniors. Baby boomers is the better term to use there. And of course, Latitude Margaritaville, is that the name for the new establishment?
Yes.
We know that that's a 55 and older planned community that's being built off of LPGA in Daytona Beach, and they just opened their sales office. So it's just kind of just more evidence that there's, we're trying to work to meet that demand that we know is coming.
Absolutely, that demand is definitely there demographically, and we think it should be continuing.
All right, let's move now to the commercial construction numbers. Across the county, there's a number of projects underway. Some of them are very visible, and some of them maybe are not. How does commercial construction, how did it do for the last quarter?
There were 18 commercial permits issued this past quarter. A year ago, around this time, the same quarter for 2016, there were 21. So we were pretty close to our performance for the previous year. What's different this go round is the value, and that's because the Proto Development Group's Daytona Beach Convention Hotel and Condominium project has permitted both the North and South Tower. And that's a project that is approximately $203 million in value. So it obviously had a significant impact on the totals for the fiscal quarter. Now, in addition to that development, also in Daytona Beach, the North American Development Group is building retail shops in Daytona Beach, and that project is easily a $10 million project.
So obviously all this construction going on in the commercial and even in the residential housing, it's evidence that I'm sure there's a need or a demand for construction jobs. This is really an area where they need workers to keep up with the demand of all this construction.
That's correct. We are seeing in our employment numbers that we have gained in employment, and one of the leading sectors with over 1,000 jobs gained from this time last year was the construction sector. So retail trade was another one with significant gains. So we are not surprised by that because those are the areas of industry that clearly are showing the growth.
So here in Volusia County, when we talk about growth, we have a lot of small businesses, and I learned recently that 90% of our businesses here in Volusia County have less than 20 employees. So what does that mean as far as the growth potential for those companies, since they make up such a large percentage of companies here in Volusia County, those companies with less than 20 employees?
Well, that's quite correct. And on that scale of less than 20, what it means is that you have room to grow. Our community is structured, this business community is structured in a way that there are opportunities for continuing growth and development. From that number at 90% or less than 20, 62% or so are just 0 to 4. So there's even more opportunity at that group as well.
And I know that Doherty Manufacturing, you've listed them as a good example of a company that has had a lot of growing opportunity that they've been experiencing, and they recently even were recognized. You want to talk about that for a little bit?
Yes, well, congratulations to Doherty Manufacturing out of the city of Edgewater. They have been named to the Florida Grow FL Companies to Watch. And we are very excited because they are doing so well and have been recognized for their growth. They have achieved over a 70% growth rate in employment and revenue this past year, and we will be recognizing them as that company when the Grow FL program has their banquet.
All right, so that's great news too. All right, your division has so much information on statistics, anything locally with economic development. How can people find out more information, or maybe businesses who might need some assistance as far as helping to expand their businesses?
Well, the best way to access that information is to go to www.floridabusiness.org. That's our website, and there you will find data, you will find reports, you will find recent information from our weekly newsletter as to what is going on in the community.
And also contact information and phone numbers for people to call.
Absolutely.
All right, well, Pedro Leon, the business manager for the county's Economic Development Division, thanks so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
Amber, back to you.
Thanks, Joanne, and thank you for watching Volusia Magazine. If you have any questions about the show, you can feel free to give us a call at any of the numbers you see listed here, or you can log on to volusia.org and click on the News tab at the top of the screen to find us. And we hope you won't forget to listen to Volusia Today. That's Volusia County Government's weekly public radio broadcast. Volusia Today airs every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Sunday mornings on the local radio stations you see on your screen. For Volusia Magazine, I'm Amber Osman, and I hope you have a wonderful evening.